One of the easiest way you achieve financial freedom is by buying real estate. However, it does have to be correct real estate. So today we're going to talk about how to buy your first residential multifamily property the easiest way. This is exactly how my girlfriend and I bought my first property 2 years ago, and since then we've been able to multiply it and help our friends and family do the same thing. So when you watch this video, if you do get any value from it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. So the main method we're going to talk about when you're buying your first multifamily home is going to be called house hacking. But let's take a step back. A lot of times when someone is buying their first home, they go ahead and purchase a single family home. While single family home could be an investment if you're renting it out, it's really not an investment. It's more of a liability if you are living in the house. Because while you're living in the house, you're paying mortgage, insurance, taxes, maintenance, which is going to cost you more than rent. Some people like to say, well, at least you're paying off something that you own. What I'm going to show you is called amortization table. And this will show you exactly how much of the property you're actually paying off or how much you're paying the bank. Let's just say you bought a property with an FHA loan at 3.5% down and 6.5% interest rate. And if you zoom in and you look at the first couple of years, you can actually see that you're barely paying off any of your principal, which is actually the loan. And I would say 90 to 95% of your payment is actually going towards the interest. So while someone can tell you, hey, you're paying off your own home, you're really not, especially in the beginning years. And as if you're buying your first home, most likely you're not planning to stay there for a long time. So therefore, it may not be the best investment of your money and time. Okay, Ralph, I get it. Single family homes are not the best investment. So where do I find multifamily homes that I can actually utilize for house hacking? First things first, you should really start with understanding of what your income is like when it comes to qualifying for mortgages. And you might have already done that if you've been looking at single family homes. However, it is a little bit different when you're applying and trying to qualify for multifamily home. In multifamily home transactions, you might actually qualify for more because the rent that you would be getting from the other units could supplement your income in qualifying for the house. My biggest suggestion would be to talk to a proper and good mortgage broker. There's a lot of mortgage brokers out there, and there's some people that actually, instead of going to a mortgage broker, they talk to a bank directly, which could be not a bad option if you're working with like a credit union, because they might be a little bit of a more lenient on their terms. However, I do believe in about 90% of transactions that we've done, there have been some complications that if you do not have a proper professional on your side, and therefore may not be able to satisfy all the conditions the loan and the bank might have, and therefore may not be able to buy the property. And obviously you gotta ask around. People ask for my mortgage broker out here in Florida, and then in other states, you have to ask around in your network on people that you know, people that have used mortgage brokers, people that use mortgage brokers to buy a multifamily house, because they will be the ones who are the most experienced in that particular matter. Next thing you're gonna do, you're either gonna hire a realtor or go on Zillow and start looking for your multifamily home yourself. I do not suggest going off market and looking for a multifamily home to buy, especially if you're going to live in it, because if you're going to be using an FHA or conventional financing, it is a lot more harder in off-market transactions. So let's say you do go out and find a realtor that would help you in this transaction. I don't suggest finding any realtor. You do need to find a good one. As you can see, a lot of these suggestions are actually subject to the professional that you're working with being knowledgeable in their area. For example, my girlfriend does have a real estate license, so when she has clients that are looking for multifamily home, she has enough knowledge to provide it to them because we've dealt with so many off-market transactions, because we've purchased so many properties of our own. She's able to help them make a proper decision. And that is the biggest thing. You want to make sure that your realtor will help you analyze the property and understand, is the property a good investment or not? You want to know the numbers where you can get a move in. You want to know the numbers after you move out. All of those questions should be asked before making an offer or purchasing the property. The goal that you're trying to achieve when buying a property to live in and house hack is you're trying to lower your mortgage or even have no mortgage at all. If you can move in into a duplex, triplex, or fourplex and have no mortgage at all, it's absolutely awesome. And it doesn't happen too often when it comes to on-market properties, but it is possible and I have seen it happen. But let's say you even can nullify the mortgage completely, but you may have like a $500 or $700 payment left over. It's already great. You're not gonna find a rental for $700. I'm pretty sure wherever you live, it's not $700 to rent a home. So therefore, you're living in the house, you're having a lot less expenses to live in the house because your mortgage is only $700, including taxes and insurance. And the only thing on top of that you do have to worry about is maintenance. So let me talk about that and some other things that you should look out for when you're buying the property. When it comes to maintenance, I think in my opinion, you just have to make a weighted decision. You have to think about it this way. If there's a property that was built in early 2000 and it's a duplex and it's bringing $4,000 in rent from both sides total. And then there's another house that is a frame home that was built in 1920, and it's also bringing $4,000 a month from each side. The block home in early 2000 is going to require a lot less maintenance. It makes sense to go with the block home if they're the same price. However, a lot of times those are priced a little differently. It's hard to find that they're priced the same. But even if it's close, block home would be a better option for you if you don't want to worry about maintenance too much. Another thing you got to look out for is area. And obviously we talked about it before that you're not buying a property for a couple of years. You want to build off this property to keep building your passive income and generational wealth. So therefore, in my opinion, buying in an area that you do not see progressing is the worst decision you can make. Yes, it might be cash flowing well, but if you do not see this area going anywhere, if you don't see any new construction going in the area, if your city is not making the right decisions and you feel like it's not progressing, it may not be the best place to invest your money and time. There's always a city or a town around where you live that is progressing more than others, and maybe that would be the one to take a look at. And you don't want to go for the most expensive town or city, but you do want to go for the one that's up and coming and that's getting up there. Ask around, ask the realtor what areas have been really progressing. Next thing you're going to look out for is house insurance. That's something that a lot of times you're going to have to do throughout the mortgage process anyway. A lot of times it's just, again, using a broker than just going directly to State Farm or whatnot, because the brokers have access to more insurances and they can help you find the best value. I wouldn't suggest buying your first property in the flood zone, especially in Florida. I mean, we're big on flood zones. There's other areas that are also very susceptible to flood zones. So I wouldn't suggest buying your first property in the flood zone. You do not want your first property to be at higher risk. So therefore I say things like low maintenance, no flood zone. Just be safe in your first property. It's your first one, so there's no need to go crazy. And the last thing that you got to take a look at is rent. When it comes to rent, obviously there's rents of the property that when you're buying it, there might be someone in place that might be renting it out, but also the market rent. So you want to do an analysis with your realtor or yourself. Check on Zillow how much the properties rent for in your area when it comes to how many bedrooms and bath your property has. And then based on that, make a decision. I understand what would your property bring now and how much of the mortgage it would cover, and what would the property be like after you move out. And that's some of the things you have to think about, because if you're going to be buying this property for a long term, you want to make sure all of these items align and you're buying a good investment. So as you can see, there's a lot of things to pay attention to when you're buying, especially your first house that you're trying to house hack. In my opinion, if you do have a good mortgage broker, good insurance broker, and good real estate agent on your side, you should be fine. This is a lot more difficult than just renting a house. However, this is a lot more rewarding than renting a house because you're able to create passive income and generational wealth with your first purchase. If you guys have any questions, I'm very passionate about this topic. I like to talk about it. Please leave it in the comments down below. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. And if you did get a value, like I said, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, peace.